Peace and blessings on this great Saturday evening. Tomorrow is Mother's Day. I want to give a shout out to the great mothers. I want to thank my mother, Betty Spillman, for giving birth to me, a long legacy of my great children, my grandchildren. But I must say tonight that my heart is heavy. We've always had a divide in America, whether it's over race, politics, male, female, income, housing, quality, education. I must say, though, today, I don't know why it feels like it's so rampant. I don't know if it's just social media broadcasting it all the time. I must say, it's really strange times we're living in. Before I go any further, I just want to give a shout out to Terrell, TY, cherished family. This is their year. Got this from him today. I'll be supporting my brother. Look him up. I'll send you a link. But I wanted to give um, my opinions or opinion on this one video I watched. Let's go ahead and pull it up. It's about um, a few youth out of Chicago gunning down a female police officer. And what makes this situation, I won't say unique, uh, is that the young men that did this are black and the female officer is black. So it brings in a question or a few questions for me to my brothers and sisters that are a part or people that are part of the Black Lives Matter. Is the outcry the same when it's black youth that gunned down a black police officer? Or is the outcry just as great when it's a black child or black young person that kills another black person? I say to my panel all the time, it's a question I present, or it's my opinion, my views on if you're black and you want to be remembered to say be a martyr, it's almost like you have to be killed by a white person. Say their name, Eric Garner, Tamir Rice, plenty of people that were brutally murdered and wrongfully murdered, and as sick as it was, injustice is injustice. But does anyone around the world know about Cooley Cash? Does anybody know about these hundreds of young men that have been gunned down in North Carolina alone, and the perpetrators were black? Does that not sting as bad? I was going to open this up as a panel discussion, but I just wanted more of a just me speaking and throwing out questions, and you can leave comments on the YouTube page. I will share this to my YouTube channel. Just something to think about, a few questions. But let's get into this video and tell me what are your thoughts.
Four people are now charged with first-degree murder in the shooting death of Chicago police officer Areanah Preston. Police say the group had been on a crime spree before killing the officer. Fox 32's Joni Lum.
They say crime spree. Now, believe me, I'm not one that believes mainstream media. I take this with a grain of salt, so I understand there's different perspectives, or when they say they went on a crime spree, it depends on who's reporting that or the narrative or who's controlling the narrative. But I've noticed that today, we've always had violence in America, but today a lot of our youth are just going on open shooting sprees. Just wilding out, just running up to anyone and just airing them out, shooting them. So I'd like to find out more details about this, but my heart goes out to this young officer.
joins us live from police headquarters with the latest. Joni?
Hello, Sylvia. Investigators had to work through their sorrow, and they say that community involvement helped them to make arrests and stop a crime spree that victimized women alone before it ended with the fatal shooting of Officer Preston. The offenders are teens, 19-year-old Travell Breland,
Looks like two of the young men have blessed on the neck.
19-year-old Joseph Brooks, 18-year-old Jaquan Buchanan, and a 16-year-old male. Police say at least two of them shot at Officer Areanah Preston when she...
Wow, pretty young lady. Areanah Preston. Will her face make a t-shirt? Will she be in a song? Will people say her name? Look at this young lady. I don't know a lot about the story, but what is your opinion? In the comments, what is your opinion? Will people march for her? Will they fight for her? Or because she's an officer, it's just part of the job? Believe me when I say this. I think murder, just for the sake of having fun and doing people wrong, is evil. I've done some evil things in my life. I've been a youth before. I understand the gunplay. I understand all that. Maybe I'm just getting older and hopefully I'm becoming more spiritual. But look at this young lady. What did she do to deserve this? Does anybody know the backstory? I've been doing a little bit of research on it. I keep getting, when you research mainstream media, you get the same story. Does anybody know more detail? Was she a crooked cop? Was she out there harassing these young men? Or was she just a nice young lady doing her job? Chicago's a very violent city, but also where we live in North Carolina is very violent. I mean, if you go to High Point, it's violent. If you go to Winston-Salem, it's off the chain. Greensboro, Raleigh, Durham, keep going. Our nation is crazy. This great divide between sanity and insanity. I'm not even trying to make it a black and white issue on this show tonight, a police versus citizens. It's sanity versus insanity. I think America really, we have to challenge our mental disorders that we have. We are suffering as a nation. We were never perfect. I understand our history. So there'll be some that say, America's history is brutal. And I definitely agree. But if you live in a vicinity or a place, don't you want it to be better? Especially if you have children or grandchildren. Wouldn't you want it better? Let's keep going.
He was returning home from work at 1:42 a.m.
Wow, beautiful young lady. Could have been a model, a doctor, but she chose to be a police officer. There's a few people, in my opinion, that choose to be police officers. Usually people that were bullied or treated bad, and some of them want revenge, and some of them become a-holes and d-heads, assholes and dickheads, and just very power hungry on the evil side of things. Then there are those that are really good people. They get into the profession because they really want to help and make a difference. I will say, without saying his name, he's like a brother to me. He was a hero of mine growing up. He was a prison guard, then he became a police officer, and he was a very good Christian man as I knew him. He said he always had to check his ego and his power control. Every day he fought with it. And this was one of the nicest, meekest people I've ever met in my life. So it's something about that position that you can either, I guess it's like anything in life, you can do good or you can do bad. But look at her.
Saturday. Police say the 4 offenders were traveling in a stolen red Kia and they were looking for people to victimize. They allegedly committed multiple crimes before ambushing Officer Preston.
As Officer Preston was returning home from her tour of duty early Saturday morning, 4 offenders pulled up in a stolen vehicle. The offenders quickly exited the vehicle and ran towards Officer Preston while armed. An offender fired at Officer Preston, who returned fire. The offenders continued to shoot Officer Preston, and an offender stole Officer Preston's weapon before all offenders fled the scene in a stolen vehicle.
Her last arrest that evening, even the arrestee, once finding out the news of what had happened, she wept. But that speaks to the credit of Officer Preston.
Peace for Preston. Yeah, beautiful young lady. To people that are in the military or police officers or peacekeepers or anybody that tries to help the public or police the public, what are your views on this? Is it open season on the police? Don't get me wrong, the police, probably get an F in a lot of communities. There are some great officers, but there's such a small, quiet minority. Why, when something violent or bad happens, why do all the police shut their mouth? Are you allowed? I know there's the boys club, codes of silence, but isn't your morality greater than that?
Commander Pendarvis says that the charges put police on a path to heal from the loss of this star officer if they can ever get over their grief. The officer's weapon was stolen. It has not been recovered. That stolen car was set on fire, and those 4 offenders are going to be in bond court at this hour. Reporting live at police headquarters, I'm Joni Lum. Back to you.
All right.
Wow. What are your thoughts, everyone? What are your thoughts? What's the breaking point, the great divide? Insanity versus sanity. Are these children insane? Are they reckless? Are they wild? What's the issue? Is America currently oppressive to them? What's the excuse? What's the reasoning? Somebody come on. Tell me. What's the reason? Why are our babies out here gunning each other down, gunning grandmas down, children down? What's going on? What's the real issue? What can solve it? In my understanding, I think the way we were raised to fear our elders. Yes, we all done stupid things, but I can't remember all of us that were out in the street wilding. I can't remember us ever going after elderly folk. Or, to be honest, women or children. As much as a child has had disdain for aggressive police, it's hard to imagine that I would have shot a young lady like this just because she was a police officer. Somebody fill me in on the backstory. Y'all have a blessed evening. This is Sean Spillman from Foaming at the Mouth podcast. Check us out, subscribe and like and share. Look forward to seeing you again. God bless.